Welcome to Meridian. In this session, we will be talking about our journey in developing Meridian Pay and how we engineer this Stellar Smart Wallet for real-world activation. Before we get started, just like presenting ourselves, I'm Marcelo. I'm a software engineer at Stellar Development Foundation. And today I'm sharing the stage with my colleague, Philip Liu, also engineer at SDF, as well as Doug Gimley, CTO at Cheesecake Labs. Before we get started, seems like a lot of you have been using Meridian Pay already, which is great. After the talk, we'll be around and answering any questions or any support you may need. So, first of all, sharing some context here. Why did we create Meridian Pay? For these users, Meridian SDF had this bold idea in mind, which was to get the whole conference on-chain. And that idea eventually gave birth to Meridian Pay. And it came out with three very intentional goals in mind. So first of all, we wanted to get all the attendees to actually experience the Stellar network, because we know you learn better from real interactions than just watching slides. And the second intention was to showcase the use of XLM and its utility. So you can use it already in the conference. You can, in the venue, you can purchase juice, you can purchase mate, and this goes beyond the conference. So after this, you'll be able to get your funds out into your own wallet or donate it to some of the NGOs we'll be suggesting. And the third intention here was a gift for the community, because we know Stellar wallets or smart wallets actually are very powerful, but they have kind of a cold start problem. So it's great to have some code base where you can look at and understand like some of the use cases, UX, and how the solutions were built. So we hope to give you guys inspirations about that. And this project came as a cooperation between SDF and Cheesecake Labs. And now I'm going to hand over to Doug, who will dive into more details on how Cheesecake Labs develop a lot of the UX and other applications that are part of this. Doug?
Thanks so much, Marcelo. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today. So Meridian Pay is a Stellar smart wallet that feels like a regular web app, but everything you do is happening on-chain. This is not a demo or a test net. Every one of you is holding a real Stellar wallet in your hands, holding real XLM and real assets. And our goal since the beginning was very simple. Our goal was to deliver a Web2-like experience into Web3 while showcasing things that can only be done with Stellar. But of course, to get there, we have to deliver and to solve some hard problems. So my goal here is to overview the user experience we want to deliver with this app. So the best way for us to start doing this is talking about the key features we want to include on this application, and at the end that we did. So the first thing is we want the app to be passwordless, meaning anyone should be able to log into the app when possible using Face ID or Touch ID. So no password, no seed phrase at all. Second, we want the app to support multi-assets, from XLM to other type of tokens that we'll talk about later also. The payment flow should be as smooth as possible. We want any user to be able to transact in just a few seconds, with just a few clicks. And finally, we want the UX to be as simplified as possible, meaning no installs and no user-facing fees. Just a clean Web2-like experience powered by Stellar. But again, to get there, we had to solve some very hard problems. So I picked 5 or 6 of those challenges to highlight to all of you today, the challenges and how we solve those at the end. The first big question we had to overcome was, how do we onboard people near instant without requiring installs or demanding a creation of a seed phrase? For that, most of you have tried already, so we chose to deliver a web-based wallet secured by passkeys that we also talk about more about later. The second big question that we had to overcome in terms of challenge was, how do we distribute 1,000 plus tokens for people and wallets that we don't have the address first. For that, we have implemented Merc3 with predictable addresses derived from the user's emails. So that way, we can know the address before the users created the wallet itself. The second is, we all know that the blockchain has a cost, right? Every transaction generates a cost. So how can we make that transparent for the final user? We have leveraged one stellar open source tool called the Wallet Backend so that we can sponsor the fees on behalf of the users. We'll talk more about the Wallet Backend in a minute with Marcelo also, so that we can overview some other cool features behind the Wallet Backend service. The last thing, as I mentioned, we want the payment experience to be as smooth as possible. So how can we do that in a real-world setting so that people here at the conference can do this with just a few seconds or a few clicks? For that, we have delivered the experience with QR code. So people can just literally open the camera, scan the QR code, confirm, and you get the transaction done on-chain. That's very important. And lastly, but not less important, how do we prevent people to lose access to their wallet and at the end losing access to their funds? So since the beginning, we implemented this wallet by including a recovery system built-in using email and passkeys also. So at the end, we delivered this app, and we are showcasing Stellar latest capabilities, building a passkey, a smart wallet, with SAP50 NFTs and real-world assets at Stellar. But let's see in action. Many of you have done already, I hope, if you haven't, give it a try. But the beginning of this user experience is very simple. So everything should have started with either a link or an email that many of you have received a few days ago. With that link in hand, you click it, you open on your mobile browser, you click on a button, sign with Face ID, and that's it. As simple as that, you have a Stellar wallet set up on your device. And again, this is a real Stellar wallet on the mainnet with just like one click and one Face ID scanning, for example. And one important thing, the authentication with passkeys was done very secure. We implemented WebAuthn behind the scenes, so the private key never leaves your device. Second, as soon as you have the wallet set up, and many of you will start doing or have done for some NFTs already, you can start scanning QR codes to get a coffee, buy a juice. And again, the process is very simple, right? You open the camera, scan the QR code, you get a confirmation of the payment, sign with your Face ID or Touch ID, and that's it. You did an on-chain transaction with just 2 clicks. Or if you want to get an NFT, you do the same flow. Scan a QR code, and you get that. But of course, fees are still there. But as I mentioned, we are leveraging the wallet backend behind the scenes so that we can sponsor those fees on behalf of the user, and that becomes fully transparent for the user. They don't need to worry about that, so that this don't need to become a friction on the user experience. If you lose access to your account, not a problem. You open the link again, confirm your email, sign with passkey in a new device, and that's it. Your account is recovered. So all of those flows, they can be done with just a few clicks, each of those. And besides all of that, it's still fun, right? We can claim a swag, we can claim NFTs, we can even go for a treasure hunt. All of that powered by the Stellar smart contracts. So bottom line is, if you can unlock your phone, you can use Meridian Pay. That was the UX baseline that we set out to hit since the beginning. But let's take a look under the hood and understand the pieces that compose this application. So on the top, we have the Meridian web app with passkeys, with recovery building, with QR code payment flow that anyone here can experience. In the middle, we have the backend services. We have mainly 3 backend services here. One is the Meridian Pay backend with a few endpoints to serve the web app. We have the wallet backend, which is, again, a Stellar open source tool used to sponsor the fees of the users. But the wallet backend has other very interesting features that Marcelo will talk about later, like indexing account history and some other things. And we also have the Stellar distribution platform to create and fund wallet at scale. Those 3, they hide the complexity of the blockchain from the final user. And at the bottom, we have the smart contracts. We have smart contracts for the web out-end implementation, for the Merc-tree distributor to give the tokens for the users, for example. We have the NFTs implementation, and we also have a multi-call implementation where we can bundle multiple contract calls into a single transaction. And the key message here is it's not about one thing, right? It's the combination of Stellar low fees, the passkeys, the contracts, and the enterprising tooling. These allow us to deliver such experience that's easy and anyone can use and try at a conference like this, for example. So if I can summarize for the user experience part, everything that I just mentioned in a few phrases, I would say that low fees make the fee sponsorship work. The fast finality of the network allow us to create a smooth user experience for the final user. Passkeys allow us to deliver a secure but yet simple onboarding for those users. And with the open source tooling available at the Stellar ecosystem, anyone in this room can start building production-ready smart wallets today. But that's not all. So this was an overview about the user experience. The goal now is for us to go deep about some technical aspects behind some of those implementations with Philip.
Thanks, Doug. Now I'll talk about some of the smart contracts that power the Meridian Pay experience. But first, let's talk about passkeys. One of the biggest frictions in blockchain onboarding is key management. Users shouldn't be expected to remember seed phrases, and traditional passwords are weak and easily compromised. Passkeys, built on WebAuthn, solve this by letting users authenticate with Face ID, Touch ID, or the device PIN. It's cryptographically secure, phishing resistant, and syncs across devices through cloud providers. But what does passkeys have to do with smart contracts? Well, passkeys secure the contract that powers your Meridian Pay account. Unlike standard accounts that use ed25519 key pairs to derive their address, account contracts can implement arbitrary authentication mechanisms through a special function called checkauth. Checkauth is Stellar's authentication interface that any smart contract wallet must implement. Whenever a contract requires auth from your account, Stellar calls this function to verify authorization. Stellar provides the interface specification, but each implementation is custom. You can implement any arbitrary authentication mechanism. For example, you can delegate the control of your smart wallet to a classic account or enforce things like spending limits. For Meridian Pay, we wrote contract logic to verify passkey signatures. We also designed and implemented the ability to replace lost passkeys. This means if you lose access to your device or your passkey, you don't have to lose access to your account. And how this works is that when we deploy your contract, it stores your passkey's public key. When you initiate a transaction that requires auth, you authenticate with your Face ID, creating a WebAuthn assertion. The contract verifies the assertion against the stored public key, and if it's valid, actions like token transfers or other privileged contract calls are authorized to proceed. So there's some clear benefits to using contract accounts, some of them including implementing WebAuth and credentials, implementing robust recovery options like the email-based solution we did for Meridian Pay, and the functionality is upgradable, independent of Stellar protocol versions. However, there are some considerations. Contracts cannot pay for their own transaction fees. Stellar requires fees to be paid from the transaction source account, and this prevents contracts from self-funding. But this is something we solved with the wallet backend, which Marcelo will dive into later. WebAuthn support also varies by device and browser. For example, not all fields such as display name, are accessible across all implementations. And finally, unlike seed phrases that work forever, passkey recovery requires active infrastructure. Meridian Pay was intentionally designed as an ephemeral smart wallet. We kept recovery simple with just an email-based reset link, but production wallets that need to last years need strategies for when devices are lost, passkeys are deleted, or cloud providers fail. This means implementing multiple or more robust recovery options like backup passkeys, social recovery, or time delay recovery. Okay, now that we have the accounts, how do we actually send money to them? Well, traditional approaches might have you creating each wallet first, then sending tokens individually. But that would require you to collect and store these wallet addresses in the first place. On top of that, you would need to manage 1,000 plus separate payment transactions and monitor them for failures at scale. By the way, the Stellar disbursement platform is really great at doing this. And finally, you need a way to coordinate simultaneous distributions for surprise reveal like the one we just did. So that's not what we did. Unlike classic accounts where the addresses are derived by ed25519 key pairs, contract addresses are deterministically derived from deployer address and a salt. For Meridian Pay, we use the email as a salt, meaning we can calculate every attendee's wallet address before the wallets are even created. Deterministic addresses are new to Stellar with introduction of smart contracts. We know exactly where tokens should go without any user interaction, wallet creation, or coordination. Now, how do we leverage these deterministic addresses? Well, there's this really cool data structure called a Merkle tree. A Merkle tree lets you prove someone is on a list without storing the entire list. Using this data structure allows for turbocharged distributions with almost no limit to the number of people you pay at once. So do we actually solve the problems with Merkle trees? Well, we no longer need to create each wallet first and then send tokens individually. You just pre-fund the Merkle contract and users can claim when they're ready. You no longer need to collect and store 1,000 wallet addresses. You just pre-calculate addresses from the emails and store a 32-byte root hash on chain. You no longer need to manage 1,000 separate payment transactions and monitor them. It's just one contract and claims happen on demand. And finally, we were able to enable simultaneous distribution by enabling the claims at the exact moment we want. So on top of the challenge that we solved, there are some additional benefits. You no longer need to lose funds to inactive addresses. Unclaimed tokens sit in the contract and can be clawed back after the event. So you never send to addresses that might never be accessed. It's also the same operational complexity whether you're distributing to 100, 100,000, or even 100 million users. You just generate the Merkle tree once, then the contract does the rest. No managing individual transactions or monitoring them. And for the user, the participation is very lightweight. You just claim the tokens whenever you're ready. Next, I'll talk about some of the multi-call contract, which allowed us to batch contract invocations. Stellar allows multiple classic operations per transaction, but only one smart contract invocation per transaction. This is a problem when we want to perform multiple actions atomically. If you want to redeem 2 pieces of swag, you would have to authenticate twice. The multi-call contract based on Createx Stellar router contract bundles multiple contract invocations into a single transaction. At Meridian, we've used this so that you only need to authenticate once to redeem both pieces of swag. Next, we have the NFTs that manage digital collectibles. At Meridian, we use this for the proof of attendance protocol. It's digital proofs that you attended each session, and we're using this to track attendance on a leaderboard and award prizes to our most engaged attendees. There are also limited treasure hunt NFTs that you can discover and collect, and only the first 50 attendees can collect each of them. And some interesting technical details. This is one of the first production deployments of set50 NFTs on Stellar, and it integrates with Fader Mobile for viewing and managing your NFTs after Meridian. So we've seen how smart contracts power the Meridian Pay experience. We talked about how we built a passkey-secured smart wallet, how Merkle trees can enable turbocharged payments, and how we leveraged open source contract implementations. But contracts are just one piece of Meridian Pay. To make this work for 1,000 people at Meridian, we need enterprise-grade infrastructure. Our team has been building that infrastructure for years. We helped build the SDP, the new wallet backend, and other tools the ecosystem uses. So when it was time to build Meridian Pay, we knew how to put the pieces together. Now I hand it to Marcelo to talk about enterprise tooling.
Thank you, Philip. All right, so in addition to all the smart contracts and the direct interaction with the Stellar network, we also leverage some enterprise tooling to solve some of the challenges for this smart wallet. I'll briefly touch on, we leverage two. They are the Stellar disbursement platform and the wallet backend. I'll briefly touch on the SDP, the disbursement platform. And we basically used it to deploy all your wallets at scale. So every time you signed up, that was your accounts were being created by the Stellar Disbursement Platform. And also the RWA tokens you've received and eventually claimed for your swags, use it to claim your swags, that was also sent by the Stellar Disbursement Platform. But the tool I'll be focusing more right now is a newer tool, and it's called the Wallet Backend. And the Wallet Backend, it is something newer, something that's coming out of the oven right now. It's in beta, but it's being heavily used right now by you all through the Meridian Pay. And what it is an open source tool that aims at solving some of the most common challenges of the Stellar network, so you don't have to get into the weeds on every application you develop. And one of the challenges it solves first is sponsoring fees at scale. And this is especially important for smart wallets because smart wallets are contracts, and contracts cannot pay for the fees themselves, and they need a classic wallet to pay for those fees. And that's solved by the wallet backend, and it's solved at scale because the wallet backend uses the channel accounts approach. And so you basically don't need to solve that yourself. You can just deploy this tool, you plug into the APIs, and it's very easy to use. A couple APIs, and you're done with that. And the second challenge that the wallet backend solves is history indexing. And this is virtually something that virtually everybody needs to solve. We know that Horizon provides 1 year of history, and RPC, on average, 1 week of history by default. So chances are you'll have to index your own history, right? Especially if you have a big code base of user base. So the thing is, with the wallet backend, you don't need to solve that yourself. That works really easily. You just register the accounts you'd like to watch, and every time there's an action pertaining to those accounts, that those transactions and operations will be ingested into the wallet backend database. And you can query it very easily. It's a GraphQL API, so you can just query the fields that you care about. And it's very, very lightweight. It's in Go. It's an open source project. And the great thing is that this is powering Meridian Pay. You've all been using this right now. All transactions that you submit, like every time you claim a swag, redeem an NFT, or pay anything with XLM, anything, that transaction that comes from your wallet is being sponsored by the wallet backend. And every time you open your history and your second tab of Meridian Pay, that's being served by the wallet backend API. So, folks, this works. It's great. It's fast. And you've all been using it right now. And the best thing, it's open source. It's not tailored towards Meridian Pay. It's built for the community. We hope really that this is going to make your lives easier. Please go in and take a look. This is going to be helping you big time. All right, so let's wrap up some of our takeaways here. With Meridian Pay, we believe we're proving that you can have access to the user experience at the level of Web 2 with the power of Web 3, as long as you have access to the right tooling. From spending XLM to claiming NFTs, sending RWA tokens in exchange for swags, creating an account without having to deal with passwords, everything you've been doing right now is all getting you hands-on on the Stellar network. And underneath, it's being powered by all these toolings, SDP, wallet backend, smart contracts, the Stellar network itself. And best of all, it's all open source. It's on that repo over there, Stellar/Smart Wallet demo app. And you can take a look, you can fork, you can use. Please go. And we believe this can be a huge experience, a huge inspiration for you all. And we really hope that this can help you deliver even more awesome apps, more applications on the Stellar network. We're really looking forward to see what you will be building next. Thank you. And this is your NFT claim. And we have 5 minutes for questions. We'll be here to answer anything you need. Yeah, Alex. Do we have running microphones?
Yeah. I guess in the process of connecting all the different building blocks that we created, right? Like, what was the hardest part? Like, what was the most challenging one, or where do you feel like there was the most innovation?
Maybe not about connecting, but I'll highlight again the user experience behind the app, right? So how can we connect those dots and still deliver an experience that's, again, seamless for the final user? I believe this was challenging at the beginning, try to put up those places, plan the user experience, but later, of course, we have the technical aspects that it was challenging, but it was seamless also, right? Like,
yeah, I think the Merkle tree was challenging, but after we nailed it, it was like really easy. And maybe the NFT was kind of gave it some hiccups in the implementation cycle, but yeah. I think it's just like there was like a big amount of applications that we connected, and just like making everything work together as a whole, I think that was a complexity, but maybe no particular implementation, right?
yeah. But Merkle tree and NFT are good ones, yeah, right? So, but now that's done, anyone can leverage like the implementation we did.
Is he blocking that?
More.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
other questions?
Yeah.
How are you able to implement the passkey? Have you, for example, used a passkey kit or developed something from scratch?
On the front end, we have used simple web alt end to do the integration. We have also implemented on the back end so that we can have the proof done on the back end and not only on the front end. But that was related to the front end.
Yeah, so the smart contract itself is based on PasskeyKit, but we do not use PasskeyKit itself. If you want to look at the smart contract, it's in the Stellar Disbursement Platform repo under smart contracts. It's very simple. It just implements the WebAuthn spec.
Okay. I see the WebAuth already handle. I see the passkey already handle the WebAuth behind the scenes. So you have just used the WebAuth like I see inside the create key, for example, it creates a wallet specific for the passkey authentication. So you have to create this account for every user, or it's like a provider wallet that will sign the transactions?
Yeah, so when you click on your unique link, your email is already registered with us, so we know the contract address that we should be deploying. And it's just going to submit a regular deploy contract transaction with your passkey's public key. And that's how we associate your passkey with the contract. Does that make sense?
Yeah? Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Do we have time for any more, or should we keep moving? It's time. We got a minute. Any final question?
Yeah, so I wanted to ask about the wallet backend, the account sponsorship part, and also the payments indexer. Are those compatible both with? I assume so, but are they compatible both with classic wallets as well as smart wallets and then transfers on Soroban?
Yeah, they're compatible with both classic and contracts. And the history, you get all the transactions and operations. You can parse the XDR. We are also turning this extra layer of abstraction, which is like this object. It pertains to this project only. It's called state changes. We're still turning that, but that doesn't have full support to contracts yet. It's more covers classic really well, but contracts not so much. And that's the pending part that makes it being beta yet. Thank you everybody.
Thanks so much.
Thank you guys.